What's this? Court preparation, pre-trial prep. I can open the handbook, set skills. All right, let's look at the handbook. All right, so I can look at my truth bullets. So let's get in our mind. Let's figure out what is our theory of the case coming into this. All right, so look at the file. The victim was Sayaka Miyazono. The time of death is estimated to be around 1:30 a.m. The body was discovered in Makoto's room in the dormitory. The death took place in the bathroom. The cause of death was a stab wound to the abdomen, and her right wrist appears to have been fractured. Okay. There are a number of... So, evidence of a struggle. There are a number of scratches and gouges on the bed and walls of Makoto's room. The fact that the main character only wears black should be some defense, honestly. Oh, I'd arrived at the trial. Fun. Indeed you have. Makoto... there's the replica sword. Makoto took this from the gym entryway and put it in his room. The sword was found out of its sheath on the floor in the middle of the room. The sword handle was missing some of the gold coating, as was part of the blade. Which means the handle and blade definitely were involved in the fight. Makoto took this from the gym entryway and put it in his room. The sheath was found some distance from the sword itself, and it shows evidence of being scratched with a sharp object. Here's an idea. Hold on. Let's imagine you're the killer. You come into the room, you're trying to stab someone with your knife. They pull out a sword, so now they have a reach advantage. But perhaps when they drew the sword, they just kind of threw the sheath aside. You pick up the sheath, knowing it's not going to be necessarily a good finisher weapon, but that gives you the range to combat the sword. In the process, the sheath gets scratched by the sword, and you hit the victim in the wrist with the sheath, causing their wrist to break. And maybe that's at the point where you get the upper hand in the fight. Because now, your opponent has to wield a two-handed weapon with only a single hand. Ooh. I think that's a good theory right there. Switching rooms. On the night of the murder, Makoto and Sayaka traded rooms and room keys. When the victim was discovered in Makoto's room, key was also found in Makoto's room. Sayaka had originally asked Makoto to switch with her when someone attempted to force their way into her room, and she became frightened. This had been, so the toolkit, this had been placed in Makoto's room before he arrived. It remains unopened, and there's no evidence of it having ever been used. All the other male students claim that they haven't used theirs either, but still. Okay, hold on. So we have evidence that this toolkit from the room was not used. We also, with the doorknob, I believe that means the doorknob is evidence that a screwdriver was used, because they used actual tools to get the handle off of the door. That is very good evidence that we are dealing with a male perpetrator. They would have used their own toolkits. Okay. Alright, Makoto's room's cleanliness. Not a single hair was found on the floor at the scene of the crime. In addition, the lint roller shows evidence of being used. Sayaka's right wrist had been fractured, and her wrist was glittery at the injury's location. In addition, her hand appeared to be completely clean except for the index finger of her left hand, which had some blood on it. A series of numbers had been written in blood on Makoto's bathroom wall. 11037. It is assumed that Sayaka wrote these numbers while leaned up against the wall as she lay dying. But it actually says Leon. It was like someone, I think the killer must have like tried to scrub away the message. Bathroom door frame. Makoto's bathroom door was difficult to open due to its not quite fitting in the door frame properly. The only two people who knew the trick to opening it were Makoto, the room's owner, and Sayaka, the victim. Makoto's bathroom doorknob had been broken. The screws holding it in place had all been partially or completely removed. Yeah, you need a screwdriver for that. You're not doing that with your bare hands. You can look at your truth bullets at any time during the trial. Good to know. I just want to kind of refresh and build a sort of a theory of the case in my mind before I go to the trial. The nameplates on the... This is a really confusing piece of evidence. It means something, obviously. I don't know what. The nameplates on the doors to Sayaka and Makoto's rooms were apparently switched at some point. Why? The kitchen in the dining hall has a set of kitchen knives. Apparently one of the knives has gone missing. The knife from the kitchen went missing while I was in the dining hall. Oi swears that Makoto did not come to the dining hall at any point while she was there. But someone must have. There's apparently a trash room within the school. It's blocked off by a sturdy gate that can only be opened with the trash room key. We know how this panned out, more or less. Because this was on, so it doesn't prove anything necessarily, just that the person is good at throwing stuff. A piece of burnt clothing was found next to the incinerator in the trash room. It is apparently part of a shirt cuff, and it has a noticeable bloodstains on it. Shards were found in there. Okay. Let's go back. I don't think anything else is really all that relevant. Let's look at the skills. Let's set some skills. Do I have any skills? Melodious voice. Increases damage to the opponent when a statement is destroyed. Effective during the bullets time battle. Costs 3 SP. Sure. Alright, that is my only skill. It'll be useful though, probably. Alright. In we go. The die is cast. Trial. All rise. All rise for the Honorable Monokuma.
Explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results.
Okay.
If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate.
Kind of messed up, but okay.
The killer really is one of us, right?
Of course.
Okay then. Everyone, close your eyes. And whoever did it, raise your hand.
What?
Don't be a goddamn idiot. Why the hell would they raise their hand?
Before we move on and start the trial, can I ask a question real quick? What's
Sure.
going on with those pictures?
In remembrance, I suppose.
I'd feel awful if they got left out just because they died. Friendship penetrates even death's barrier.
You're a maniac.
Friendship penetrates?
Hey, Foamy, quit being weird.
Okay, but what about that other empty seat?
Oh.
There were only 15 of us to begin with, so why are there 16 seats?
That's actually a good question.
Oh, no reason. It's just that our little courtroom here can technically fit up to 16 people.
Why?
Okay, that about does it for the preamble. Get ready to get started. First up is the case summary. Now, let the class trial begin.
It's about to begin. The debate to decide who we think the killer is. Anything I found, anything I noticed, I have to be ready to speak up about everything. Because this isn't just about me. Everyone's lives are on the line. Your first non-stop debate is about to begin. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. How is this going to work? As things progress during each class trial, you will engage in a number of non-stop debates. During these discussions, characters will speak one after another without pause. Does that mean, like, even... Chat, does that mean, like, I'm not even gonna, like, click to go through? They're just gonna keep going, or... It's up to you to unearth any lies or contradictions buried within their statements. What this means is that you'll have to use your truth bullets to refute what they say. Yeah, they keep going. Oh, okay. We're gonna have to voice them, too? Any relevant truth bullets you found during your investigation will be loaded into the truth cylinder. Use the mouse to aim, then fire with the left mouse button. Like, I've heard of this system before. Whispers on internet forums, long since dead. It's always kind of intimidated me. Hopefully we can get through this, though. Pay close attention to each character's statements and use your truth bullets to blast the right ones. You can press the help button as an effective pause button, though, I think. Okay. Note that if you run out of time, you will automatically fail, so please be careful. It's not as bad as it sounds. Okay. If you press the escape key during these arguments, you can review the controls. I think these parts are fully voice acted. Good. Well then, good luck and have fun. Fun? This is a serious criminal trial. Okay. Gotta be sharp. Make your arguments. Evidence of a struggle.
I assert that the one who was murdered was Miss Sayaka Maizono.
Okay.
Yeah, we know that part already.
And the murder took place in Makoto's room.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
So it seems most likely that the killer must have taken her by surprise while she was in the bathroom.
There was evidence of a struggle,
Didn't
ma'am.
have a chance to resist.
Huh. There's something odd about that last statement. It definitely contradicts what I already know. For this first debate, we'd like to take a quick sidebar. If you're unable to spot and refute someone's lies or contradictions, the argument will repeat. Within a group of statements, some words appear in a different color. Did you happen to notice? Not really, no. Oh, there's a timer, okay. That represents a potential hole in a person's statement, a possible weak spot. These weak spots reveal important thought, though not always inaccurate sections of a person's statement. Your truth bullets are only effective against these weak spots. Okay. So when you see one come up, take aim and fire, but only if you're sure it's actually wrong. Also, you can fast forward an argument by holding down the control key. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay. So I need to wait for like the specific word.
Was Miss Sayaka Maizono.
Yeah, we know that part already.
And the murder took place in Makoto's room.
In the bathroom.
It's what?
So it seems most likely that the killer must have taken her by surprise while she was in the bathroom. She didn't even have a chance to resist.
Oh, okay, this is when I need to shoot. Okay. Because I need to wait until she didn't even have a chance to resist line. Not the she took her by surprise line. Does control...
In the bathroom.
I think it also
So
speeds up the
seems
timer.
most
Okay.
likely that the killer must have taken her by surprise while she was in the bathroom. She didn't even have a chance to resist.
Yes, she did. Do I need to actually point at the words? Okay. I think I need to point at the actual words. There we go. Okay.
And the murder took place in Makoto's room.
In the bathroom.
Okay, well, now that I understand the system, I think I should be able to do this.
The killer must have taken her by surprise while she was in the bathroom. She didn't even have a chance to resist.
She did have a chance to struggle. Look at that. There was a struggle. Break.
Just a second, Chihiro. Try to remember how my room looked. With the way things had been damaged, I think we can definitely assume there was a struggle.
There we go.
A struggle? Between who and who?
Well, I mean, that's what we're trying. That's what we were to try to figure out, Chihiro.
Between Sayaka and the killer, of course.
So you're saying Sayaka wasn't caught by surprise in the bathroom? She
Yes.
must have been attacked in the main room first. Then she ran to the bathroom to try and hide.
Seems accurate.
The killer followed her in, and that's where they finished the job.
That much should have been obvious after taking one look at the scene. It shouldn't even need explaining.
Yeah, I basically agree with that.
Sorry.
Okay, so what's next?
Next is the subject of the murder weapon.
Wow, this is starting to sound like a real trial.
We need to determine what was used to kill Sack. I got this. I got this. Make your arguments. Kitchen knife sets. Alright, I know about the kitchen knife sets.
So what was used to kill her?
It was a knife.
There was some kind of sharp object thrust into her stomach.
Why can't you guys say
Without
knife?
a doubt, that is the murder weapon.
Agreed.
So the killer used some random knife they had on him.
Nope, it wasn't a
How could
random
anyone
knife.
do something like that?
Did I
That son
shoot
of
too
a
late?
bitch.
Alright, we'll go again.
So what was used to kill her?
Logic is good. Trigger finger, not so much.
Thrust into her stomach. Without a doubt, that is the murder weapon.
So the killer used some random knife they...
Was not a random knife, sir. I know where that knife came from.
No. I do think it was a knife, but not just any knife. I'm almost positive it was a kitchen knife.
Huh? A kitchen knife?
After the murder, we discovered that one of the knives from the kitchen was missing.
Which means that knife must be the murder weapon.
In all likelihood.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense. You could sort of see the weapon sticking out of her stomach. And if you look real close, I could totally see that being a kitchen knife.
Yes.
Okay, so the murder weapon was a kitchen knife, but where does that get us? I mean, we all know Makoto killed her, right?
What? Oh, hold on a second.
Right. Makoto's room was the scene of the crime. What more proof do you need?
Hold on a second.
Let's draw our conclusions after we presented our arguments. Otherwise, what's the point of the trial?
Thank you, Kyoko. See, Kyoko, I like you.
Well, we can talk all we want.
Granted, the last person
Nothing
died,
changed that
so...
conclusion.
Be careful.
I don't think that's true at all. I'm sure if we keep at it, something new will reveal itself.
You really believe that?
She's right. There's got to be a breakthrough somewhere just waiting for us to find it. Because I know damn well I'm not the killer. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debate. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. You can concentrate by holding down the space key. While you're concentrating, time will slow down, so you can pay closer attention to what everyone's saying. On top of that, it'll steady your aim, making it easier to target potential weak spots. Concentrating like this consumes the focus gauge, and if this gauge empties, you can't concentrate. But the focus gauge will recover over time, so let your brain take a rest. No need to rush. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright. Ways accounts. I assume later on we'll have like multiple bullets we can use at a time.
That the kitchen knife was the murder weapon. But where does that get us?
Makoto must have taken it from the kitchen, right? He did it in secret, when nobody was in the dining hall. And
Oh, I
then he
missed!
went and stabbed Sayaka with it.
So he really did do it.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it!
Been decided.
No, it can't be decided, guys.
Reached the end.
No, we really haven't. I didn't take the kitchen knife, but no matter how many times I repeat myself, you won't believe me. Only there were proof. Okay.
So I guess there's no question that the kitchen
Maybe I'll try
knife was the
focusing
murder
this time.
weapon. But where does that get us?
Makoto must have taken it from the kitchen, right? He did it in secret, when nobody was in.
Someone was watching, actually. As it turns out.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I didn't take the knife from the kitchen.
Next, you're gonna say you're not the killer, right? Go ahead and say it all you want.
Well, what if I have a witness? What
Yeah.
do you think, Hina?
Huh?
Remember what you were telling me earlier?
Well, I went to go get some tea from the kitchen last night, and all the knives were still there. But when I finished my tea and went back into the kitchen to wash my glass, the knives was gone. So you're saying the knife disappeared while you were drinking your tea in the dining hall? Yeah.
Just to be perfectly clear, the knife disappeared while you were in the dining hall, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
This game has some good style.
And at any point while you were there, did you ever see me come into the dining hall?
No, I don't think so.
Case closed.
You don't think so?
No, he definitely wasn't there.
The knife disappeared while Hina was in the dining hall, but I wasn't there the entire time. In other words, there's no way I could have taken the knife.
Now the only issue here is this same line of reasoning means no one could have taken the knife aside from her.
Okay, then what about this?
So we need to square that circle.
What if the idiot swimmer girl and Makoto are in on it together and lying to protect each other?
Well, there wouldn't be a motive for that, because if I get away with murder, she dies, so.
Idiot swimmer girl? Oh, and more importantly, why would I get involved in something like that?
Speaking of which, I'd like to ask the bear, if there is an accomplice, do they also become blackened?
Oh, that's actually relevant.
So you ask, and so I shall answer. Each murder is allowed to have an accomplice, but only the one who does the killing will get to graduate.
So there's no real, unless you just like someone a lot and you're like, I want you to live no matter what, even if I die. There's no real incentive to be an accomplice.
So in other words, two people can work together, but one of them has no chance of profiting from it.
Then there's no way anyone would work together, right?
But what if they did work together and they just didn't know about the rule?
I don't think that's something you would risk.
Good grief! Enough already! No, okay? There are no accomplices in this case!
Thank you, Monokuma.
Oops! Did I say that out loud?
Anyway, I didn't go to the dining hall, and I didn't take the knife. So I'm not the killer.
Okay, so then, who did take the knife?
This one I don't have an answer to immediately.
Hina seems the obvious candidate. After all, she just said she was in the dining hall.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have evidence pointing to anyone else for obtaining the murder weapon.
No, no way! I swear it wasn't me!
Sure, but can you or anyone else prove that? I can.
Oh, Sakura?
That's right! Sakura was with me the entire time I was drinking my tea.
Alright.
I hate to have to ask, but just to be sure, Sakura's...
Me.
Right.
But then, couldn't either one of them have grabbed the knife?
Not without being noticed.
Actually, no. Because, well...
Just spit it out already.
I stayed in Hina's room last night.
Okay.
I got so scared thanks to those creepy videos. I wasn't really thinking, I just asked her to stay over. Which means we have airtight alibis.
Okay. 2 potential suspects eliminated.
You stayed over? Doesn't that violate one of the school regulations?
We're not allowed to sleep anywhere but the dorms, but it doesn't say we have to stay in our assigned room. So, I don't think that's a problem.
It is a problem! A boy and a girl spending the night together? It's unwholesome!
Taka?
But I'm a girl.
You are? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry!
But if it wasn't either of you, then what other possibility is there?
Actually, there is one other possibility. Right, Hina?
Ooh, what have we here?
Oh, yeah, that's true! One other person did come to the dining hall while we were there.
Who, pray tell?
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
Well, because... they're not here anymore.
Huh. Someone who's not here. Are you talking about...
Sayaka.
Of course!
And then later, she wound up dead.
She took the knife for self-defense purposes. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And then it was used against her. Doesn't mean the... Ooh. Sayaka? Okay, so the person who took the knife from the kitchen was... Sayaka.
I got it! Then, Sayaka is the one who took the knife?
That's the only possibility. And thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual.
What if it turns out this was actually just a suicide? And she was framing Leon because she had like a beef with him or something?
When she came into the dining hall, she didn't even look at us. She just went straight to the kitchen. As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But most likely...
And the person who took the knife was the victim herself.
I'm sure I'm sure she just took it for self-defense.
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it?
The epitome of pettiness. Maybe.
In that case, you may not have taken the knife, but you still could have killed her.
Oh, dang it. I still have the door handle as evidence.
See? He did do it after all.
No, you're wrong.
So, that's how you would twist the argument and send us all off in the wrong direction? You possess a most terrifying talent.
And if I don't do something, they're gonna blame me for the murder. They understand? If they convict me, everyone's gonna die.
Hold on. It's still too early to decide conclusively that Makoto is the killer, wouldn't you say?
I would say, yes.
Because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering.
Yes. See, Kyoko, you got my back
And
here.
until we unravel that little mystery,
It's the door.
you simply can't declare that he's the killer.
Bewildering? What the hell are you talking about?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Your first Hangman's Gambit is about to begin. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. Okay, so hold on. Before we get into this, what's the evidence she's referring to? It could be the doorknob, right? Because I would have known that it sticks, so I wouldn't have had a reason to unlock it. Or to, like, mess with it in that way. I would have just opened it. And that's the most obvious thing. I can't think of what else it would be. As things advance further in a class trial, the Hangman's Gambit will eventually take place. The point of this is to reveal an important phrase related to the incident in question. You have to deduce the phrase from the letters flying around and the letters already known. She said something was missing. Yeah, that's what's kind of throwing me. Completes the phrase by shooting down the flying letters in the right order. Use the mouse to aim, then press the left mouse button to shoot the desired letters. So if it's something that was removed from the scene, that's harder. That's harder. That's a lot harder. Or she could have heard like the doorknob was missing. If you shoot down the wrong letters, you'll suffer damage to your influence gauge. If this gauge reaches 0, or if you run out of time, you fail. Well then, good luck and have fun. Something that should have been at the scene, but wasn't. That must be the crucial point. You can just figure out what that something is. Okay, well, let's see if we can figure it out on the fly. H-O-A... So it's a 4-letter word with an I? Okay, this is like Wordle, but high pressure. 8, so there's an I at the end. So it's either an R or an H to start. So it's either... Or it could be an I, U, an I, I think H maybe is likely. I'm having trouble even thinking of what 4-letter words have an I as the second to last letter. A. It can't be handle. It could be. Give me an H? Alright, it's not an H. Never mind. Or do I need to do it repeated? H. Hair. Hair. Yeah, it's the hair.
Now I understand.
There would have been, if I had done it, there would have been no reason for me to clean out the hair. Because it was my room anyway, so that wouldn't have been suspicious. The fact that the hair was cleaned up means that there would have been hair that would have been The fact that the hair was cleaned up is evidence that there would have been hair at the scene that shouldn't have been there. That's what we're going after.
So, the culprit removed some evidence?
Yes. And if I were the culprit, why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room? It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime scene is in my room.
The reason all the hair was gone was to remove any trace that Sayaka had ever been there.
That's stupid. Everyone knows she would have been there.
That makes sense.
That's where the body was found.
No. If that were the case, they would have had to do something about the body itself, not just her hair.
Yes, very true, very true.
Okay, then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever been there.
Wait, then that means...
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
There we go.
Then Makoto isn't the culprit?
More proof of the villain to roll as the culprit.
Are you sure we can decide something so important based solely on the absence of some hair?
It's a fair point. If I were the killer, it could have made some amount of sense to remove my own hair from the scene, specifically to create this deduction.
No. There are other reasons that prove why Makoto couldn't have done it.
I would like to hear these reasons.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene?
Of course.
Sayaka was attacked in the main room first, then fled into the
But
bathroom.
now we do the door handle.
Yeah, then they ran after her, got into the bathroom, and stabbed her.
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
There was clear evidence left behind. Do you remember, Makoto?
Of course I do. The killer struggled getting into the bathroom, and the evidence that proves it is... the bathroom doorknob. Well, hold on. So it's either the doorknob or the frame. So the doorknob had been broken, the screws holding it in place had all been partially or completely removed. The door was difficult to open due to it's not quite fitting properly in the door frame. I mean, technically they're both accurate. It's either the frame or the knob. The frame... the knob proves that you had, like... The knob proves the killer's actions. The frame proves why they would have done that. And I hope they're both acceptable. What do you think? What am I trying to prove here? The door frame doesn't fit properly. The doorknob... I think you start with the knob. Say, the killer had to mess with the knob to get into the room. And then it's like, why would they do that? The boys' rooms don't lock. Well, this particular room had this particular issue, which only I knew about. And therefore wouldn't have had to do that. So we'll go knob first. It's that or the frame.
Evidence that the killer had trouble getting into the bathroom. You're talking about the doorknob, right?
Huh? The doorknob? What doorknob?
The doorknob for my bathroom. It was completely broken. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to fall off?
Oh yeah, true. But what does it mean?
In trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly removing the entire doorknob. This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is beyond suspicion.
Yes. And this one I think is maybe even better evidence than the hair. Because this is an action that would have been taken in the heat of the moment of the crime. Right? In this moment, the killer would want to kill the victim as quickly and efficiently as possible.
So what? You're saying he wouldn't break the door in his own room? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing bewildering about it.
You still don't see? Okay then. Let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. Hopefully that will help you understand.
Kyoko said it was a bewildering act. Didn't notice it at first, but is that the key point here? There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. From here on out, the number of weak spots will start going up. But no matter how many weak spots, there's essentially only one lie or contradiction in that debate. What I'm trying to say is not all weak spots you see are necessarily false. Use a truth bullet on the wrong one, and not only will you fail to refute what they said, but you also lower your trust with everyone, and your influence gauge will take damage. Now this is important because if your influence gauge reaches 0, you fail. You have to rely on your own logic to determine which weak spots are actually lies or contradictions. Well then, good luck and have fun. Alright. Bathroom door frame is my bullet in the chamber.
The incident took place in Makoto's room.
Accurate.
Sayaka was first attacked in the main room.
Accurate.
She then fled into the bathroom.
Okay.
Then the killer ran after her.
Yes.
And they got into the bathroom.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door. Because
Yeah.
Sayaka had locked it.
There is no locks.
And finally,
I missed.
the culprit had Sayaka cornered.
To finish the job, they stabbed her with the kitchen knife.
But hurry up, guys.
You, wasn't it, Makoto?
I use my focus to get better aim next time.
We already know the answer.
Thou dost protest too much, I think. It's obvious the bathroom door wouldn't open, but the reason for that is that it was locked.
Sayaka was first, she then fled into the
Then the killer ran.
High-pitched, fast voices. A little too far left.
The killer had to try and
Yeah, he
bust
busts down the door.
Because Sayaka had locked it.
It was not locked. There was no such thing.
The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked. After all, the girls' rooms are the only ones with walking bathrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, now that you mention it, that is true.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because it was stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My bathroom door doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yup, true as true can be.
Alright.
But you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky student, right? But to have such a cruddy door.
Yeah, ironic, I know.
That's not lucky at all.
So the reason the door didn't open was just because it was stuck. But the killer didn't know that and assumed it was locked. So they tore apart the doorknob to get in.
Okay, but then why would the killer even think the door was locked in the first place?
Oh, because the plates were swapped. That's how this gets into play.
Everyone should have known you can't lock any of the boys' bathrooms.
But who switched the plates? Maybe Sayaka switched the plates herself to give her extra security if she fled into the bathroom, making whoever followed after her think that it was locked.
The killer could easily make that mistake, thanks to one important detail about the scene of the crime.
One important detail. Something the killer didn't know. For some reason, they were convinced the door was locked. Which means the important detail the killer didn't know was that the crime took place in my room.
I got it! The killer must not have realized that it was my room.
What? Are you saying the culprit didn't even know where he was? That's inconceivable.
And yet, he's absolutely right.
Say what?
Well, to be more specific,
But doesn't that defeat the purpose of switching rooms? Yeah. Fair point. Someone must have swapped
what the
it.
killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms. Which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom. If Sayaka had been in her own room, then
there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through.
Yes.
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident. But the killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how they actually got the door opened.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to break down a door that wasn't locked is...
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening, right?
Yes.
That is a definite possibility.
So the killer would have to be someone who didn't know they'd switched rooms?
Then Makoto couldn't have done it.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Okay, then who did do it?
I'm sorry, but I give up. Quit without saving.
What?
But what happens if we can't decide on who we think did it?
Well, why don't we just vote right now? Majority rules.
No, we've hardly even touched on this case.
Majority rules? You really think that's a good idea?
Yeah, our necks are on the line here. Someone seriously needs to do something. For serious.
Does no one have any other thoughts or questions? It does not matter how trivial they may seem.
Which was that streaming now? No!
Oh, as a matter of fact, I do have one question.
Alright,
Oh, you
don't gotta sound so disappointed.
It's fine. Just ask your question.
Oh yeah. Okay, so, well, I was just wondering, how did the culprit get into Makoto's room in the first place?
You know, that's actually a pretty important part of this case. I haven't even considered it to this point.
Yes. How did the killer get inside?
Maybe Sayaka just dropped the key somewhere and the culprit picked it up. That's possible, right?
No.
I don't think so. That seems way too convenient.
Then maybe someone picked the lock?
I guess it's plausible.
Negative. If you remember, Monokuma made it quite clear that the locks are all unpickable.
Well, yeah, and people made it quite clear that the Titanic was unsinkable, so... You know, I mean, there is such a thing as fallibility. Even in weird, possessed teddy bears, I assume.
Fine. How about this? The
Perhaps the
killer got
killer's
an
already inside.
easy way.
There's that lint roller.
They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something, and Miss Maizono just let him in.
And again, it's plausible, but she was so paranoid that I don't see it going down that way.
No, that can't be it either.
Oh, trying to argue against me? Sounds like someone doesn't know his place. Hello? Why exactly can't that be it?
The reason there's no way Sayaka invited her killer into the room. I already have the answer. It would be... and possibly just the act of having switched rooms, right? On the night of the murder, Makoto and Sayaka traded rooms and room keys. When the victim was discovered in Makoto's room, the key was also found. Sayaka originally asked Makoto to switch with her when someone attempted to force their way into her room, and she became frightened. So that could be what they're going for here. I don't think there's anything else that really points to her state of mind, which is, I think, what we need to get at here. So yeah, I think just the fact that we switched rooms is evidence enough.
I got it! Because Sayaka was already scared, remember? That's why she asked me to switch rooms in the first place.
Same goes for you, Sayaka. No matter who it is, don't open your door for anyone. Even if I'm sure it's you, I absolutely won't open it. Otherwise, what's the point of even switching?
Knowing what she'd been through, I just can't believe she would have opened the door for anyone.
What if her being scared was a lie?
That's interesting. And then that would... Wait a minute. Well, hold on.
Huh?
Maybe she wanted to be in the room, switched the plates, specifically to confront the killer because she thought she would win, and she knew I had the sword in my room, and she wanted to use the sword to defend herself.
Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Why would she lie about something like that?
Maybe she attempted to kill someone and they killed her in self-defense? I don't know.
I know you don't want to consider it, but look at this and tell me. Can you still deny the possibility
There's something I want to talk to you about. Just us two in 5 minutes. Come see me in my room. Sayaka. Check the nameplates to make sure you don't get the wrong room, okay? Sayaka did switch the nameplates. I told you, chat. Told you. Presuming this evidence isn't forged.
I found a notepad
But I trust
during my
Kyoko,
search,
so.
and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil. And these are the words that appeared.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows. When you write, it can leave an imprint. Sketch over the next sheet of paper, and you can see the words. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip the paper out before I use it from now on.
It's a pretty old-fashioned technique, but even the classics can be surprisingly useful sometimes. Oh, and I should also mention, I found the notepad on the desk in Makoto's room.
So, was it a rendezvous gone wrong? Was she trying to kill someone and they killed her in self-defense? Opens up some possibilities for sure.
Huh? Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Okay, yeah, that's basically just me and her.
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for a single night.
So, Makoto, did you write this?
Nope.
No, I didn't. But
Of course you didn't, because the note also bears a perfectly legible signature. Sayaka's signature.
Alright. Then that note... Sayaka wrote it.
but why? Why would she write that?
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone.
She cheating on me? Glad the bitch is dead now. Just kidding, just kidding.
She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
But who and why?
If we got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Of course, I'm only into 2D, so it wouldn't have any effect on me.
But can we be sure anyone even got this note? And honestly, even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened.
Huh? What makes you say that?
Would you like to hear what I have to say?
Sure, Celeste, though I am kind of suspicious of you somewhat.
Very well then. Pay attention.
What? I got the nameplates.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct?
Alright,
But in the
true.
note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
Yes.
I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room.
Okay.
Exactly. The room that Makoto was staying in.
But the nameplates were
So in other
swapped.
words, even if someone did
Never
read the
mind.
note and did what it said, they would not have any connection to what happened.
It certainly would seem that way.
The reason the killer went to my room and not Sayaka's, despite what the note said. It must be because... It's because the nameplates are
Sayaka and
swapped.
Makoto switched rooms, correct?
So this is fine.
But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
And this is plausible.
I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room.
Exactly. The room that Makoto
No,
was
but
staying in.
given that they were swapped, yeah, I must have just missed before.
The nameplates on Mai and Sayaka's rooms got switched.
Okay.
They got switched?
That's right. The nameplates got switched, just like the rooms themselves. As a result, the nameplate on Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name.
Yes.
And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Yes, which kind of defeats the whole point of switching, but, you know, whatever.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other, so switching the nameplates would be no problem.
I guess the question is, though, why? If you wanted to go down this way, why not just invite them to your room normally? Why go with through the trouble of switching plates? Unless there was something in my room that she needed. Maybe the sword, maybe the toolkits. But the toolkit's sealed. That's about it.
And the one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, then who did it?
There's only one person who could have switched the nameplates. I think it's gotta be Sayaka, right? Especially with the note that's come to light. The killer would have no reason to. There's not a plausible reason the killer would have done it. It must have been Sayaka.
I got it! Me and Sayaka were the only ones who ever knew about us switching rooms. So the only other person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can also infer as much from her note.
Yes. Something I want to talk to you about, just us two. In 5 minutes, come see me in my room. Check the nameplates and make sure you don't get the wrong room. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh. Oh, it all makes so much sense now. Sayaka invited someone else to her room, which was actually my room, with the intention of killing them. Why did she want my room? That way, after she had killed them, they would have died in my room, making me the prime suspect and not her. Other person, I guess, fought back in self-defense or something, and ended up killing her. Case solved.
She specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate.
She was trying to make me take the fall for her murder. And I bet she thought I was so love-struck with her that she might have even thought I'd take the fall willingly.
She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
Which means I'm the... Well, like, no, I don't know.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
I'm the
She wanted
accomplice.
someone to come to the room she was in, and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
What?
Inviting someone to your room, but not telling them you'd switched rooms. Why would anyone do that?
To understand that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the room.
Yes.
That's where the answer lies.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
In theory.
But we still don't know who it is, you goddamn idiot!
Sayaka fought with her killer there in the room, yes? Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight, right?
Yes, in theory.
That reminds me. There was a replica sword at the murder scene. Was that perhaps used during the fight?
Most likely.
Oh yeah. What's the deal with that sword?
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself.
Right, she suggested I have the sword.
It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
Yes.
How the hell could you possibly know that's what broke her wrist?
Oh, it's easy. The reason I know Sayaka's wrist was broken with the fake sword is because... I mean, it's either her wrist or it's the sword. I'm gonna say it's her wrist, though. Because that shows, like, hey, there's gold stuff on her wrist. And then later on, I can come back and say, oh, by the way, the sword leaves gold stuff on stuff.
I got it! All you have to do is take a good look at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear. Right there where her wrist is all swollen, there's something glittery there. See?
Is that gold?
Yeah, at least it's made to look like it.
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword. You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you. And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword! Right there on her wrist!
I see. And so the truth draws ever closer.
Or Sayaka bleeds gold. It seems unlikely. This is the murder of Sayaka, not the murder of King Midas.
Alright, then it's about time to solve this mystery.
What happened in my room? And what led to Sayaka's death? That's what we need to make clear. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Tell me more. Are you getting used to these non-stop debates? Starting with the next debate, I'll start loading multiple truth bolts into your truth cylinder. But just like with the weak spots, only one of those bolts can actually refute the proper statement. In other words, from here on out, you have to combine the right truth bolts with the right weak spots to refute each statement. If you come up with the wrong combination, you'll take damage to your influence gauge. You can press the Q key to rotate the cylinder and choose which bolts to fire. Press and release the Q key to cycle through each bullet. Or you can use the mouse wheel. That's probably going to be easier. By the way, if the logic difficulty is set to kind, fewer bolts will be loaded into the cylinder. I don't think we did that. For our purposes, this time the logic difficulty will be set to mean. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay. Mean, how many bolts am I gonna have? Okay, 3, that's not bad. Replica sword sheath, kitchen knife set, or replica sword. Those are very similar things. Let's figure this out.
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword.
Okay.
And that's when the first blow was dealt.
Seems fairly likely.
Sword-based sneak attack.
Well, it's...
And that's what broke Miss Mizono's wrist.
So she tried to fight back. She grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden away.
Okay.
But then the culprit took that from her too.
And they killed her with it.
And that's exactly what happened.
Sword was used first, and then the kitchen knife came afterward. No, that's incorrect, because the sheath has scratches on it. So the sheath is what we need.
The culprit grabbed the sword.
The sheath, there we go.
The sword-based sneak attack.
It wasn't a sword-based sneak attack because the sheath was damaged from the knife.
Actually, no. I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword's sheath had been scratched.
Mm-hmm.
See? There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
As Sayaka attempted to kill, they block with the sheath and then fight back with the sword itself.
Something sharp? You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Stop jumping ahead. Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
In the struggle, Sayaka's wrist is broken, disarming her of her kitchen knife. She flees into the bathroom. The killer follows, breaks down the door, kills you.
If the sword was used first,
in self-defense,
there wouldn't be any explanation for the scratch on the sheath. If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
Yes.
That's true. With the sheath on, it'd be heavy and bulky and useless as shit.
Okay, so how did the sheath get damaged?
If they got attacked with the kitchen knife, maybe they grabbed the sword as a defensive impulse. In that situation, there wouldn't be any time to actually unsheath the sword.
So you're saying the sword was initially used to defend against an attack from the knife?
Yes.
Which means whoever had the kitchen knife was the one who attacked first.
I think I get it. So here's how it all played out. The culprit came in, found the kitchen knife hidden there somewhere. Then they took the knife and attacked Sayaka before she knew what was happening.
I mean, I guess that's a way it could have gone down.
So she grabbed the sword to defend herself, but then the culprit took that from her too. Then, after they broke her wrist with the sword, they took the knife and finished it.
I don't know, I think the series of events makes more sense if Sayaka is the initial aggressor.
Sorry, but I don't think Sayaka used the sword to defend herself.
What? How the hell can you not think that?
Because she never held the sword at all. There's a certain part of her...
Her hands aren't covered in gold. Ah, Kyoko, you are a genius. Her palms.
You're talking about her palms, right? The palms of her hands were perfectly clean, so I don't think she ever picked up the sword.
How can you know that just by looking at her palms?
The gold, lady.
Like I said before, the gold coating on that sword comes right off. All you have to do is touch it. In fact, if you look, you'll notice that a lot of the gold has already come off the handle. It's safe to assume that's because whoever used the sword got some of it on their hands. There's really no way she could have picked it up and come away completely clean.
Maybe she washed her hands after she escaped into the bathroom.
I guess it's not. No, the water's off at night.
Sorry, but I don't think so.
Why do you say that? Is it because you think I'm ugly?
What?
No, that's not it at all.
But also, yes. There's no way Sayaka washed the gold coating off her hands because the water was off.
I got it! According to the Monokuma file, Sayaka's time of death was around 1:30 a.m. In other words, at nighttime. And the water in the bathroom shuts off at nighttime, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I haven't taken a shower here yet.
Why not? Go do that now. Jeez, we don't need you to come to a conclusion on this. Go clean up.
Oh my.
Like, even he's grossed out.
You're no different. You smell like a big fat ugly donkey.
I'm not sure whether to take that as an insult or a compliment.
Just finish the shower. Well,
An insult, obviously.
good.
So anyway, if Sayaka never touched the sword, then that means the killer is the only one who used the sword. But hold on. If that's right, then the one who damaged the sheath with the kitchen knife was...
The one who damaged the sheath would have had to been the one without the sword. So, I'm sorry, but it was Sayaka.
I got it! Sayaka? She had the kitchen knife?
But we already said that the attack started with...
The person with the knife attacked first, and the sword was used as an impromptu defense.
Then the one who attacked first was...
Sayaka?